Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Migs here back with another guide, and today we're going to talk about two-base Muta, how to deal with two-base Muta, what to look for, and then what you can do with the transition, all that stuff. So I'm not really sure how common this is actually, but I realized I hadn't done anything related to two-base Mutas. I'm pretty sure anyway. So I decided to do something here today. I played a bunch of games against somebody in particular who likes playing two-base Muta and those weird kind of like aggressive two-base Zerg openers. So I collected 3 replays in total. I'll put them in a folder. It'll be in the post so you guys can check it out. And it's just going to be like different examples of me playing against that. So let's just right ahead here. So I got this game on Ancient Cistern. And I will say, again, like, I already know my opponent plays aggressive on 2 bases, but I'm still going to give you guys pointers on what to look for and what to put in terms of your units, where to put them, and all that good jazz. I'm doing a standard Reaper Fast Expand opener, nothing crazy. So I don't metagame that hard to the point of like I do something super early on. But I'm gonna SCV scout at the barracks here. If you want to SCV scout earlier, you can. I know most people do that actually, but here I'm gonna move in with the scout. I come in, normal hash timing. I'm gonna move the SCV away, and then I'm gonna send this SCV to either the 3rd or the 4th. And if not, then I send it back home. Which in this case, I probably just sent it back home because I knew I was going to get cheese already. So I wasn't really going to try to block a base that I think my opponent was going to take. Notice here I don't use any grenades. That's entirely up to you. So if you want to use grenades, you can. Just keep in mind that if you use a grenade for the links, that you won't be able to use the grenade on the creep tumor when the queen comes to put it down. So you kind of have to decide. Honestly, most of the time, it's pretty hard to cancel the creep tumor anyway. So if that's something that you're not really worried about, then you can just use a grenade off the bat. But if you want to try to cancel the creep tumor, the first creep tumor, you should save your grenade and then use it for that specifically. Because what a Zerg player will do is that if they see you use the grenade, as soon as the queen pops, they'll put the tumor down because you can't kill it without the grenade. Micro failed me there. And then here, I see inject first. So the first hint of anything aggressive is going to be inject first. Now, sometimes you'll see inject first with a 3rd base. Sometimes you see it without a 3rd base. So if you see it with a 3rd base, don't be fooled by the 3rd base. Is it possible that they play macro? Yes, but it's also just as possible that they're going to cheese you. And in fact, it's probably more likely than not that they are going to do something aggressive off 3 bases. And at the point of the 3rd hatch, it's just to be a macro hatch, but also to throw you off. So not that you want to disregard it immediately, but you want to keep it in mind, like in the back of your mind. So here, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of patrol this Reaper around here. See the 3rd there. I'm going to try to go into the main. Okay, there's some lings. You know, I'm just kind of poking around, and I'm playing standard behind this. So what I like to do against people who play these 2-base openers is it's kind of hard to figure out if it's mutas or roaches. So I guess this particular player, what I've done here is I'm going to go for a 4 Marines. I won't do a Hellbat push, but I'm going to do 4 Marines. So, because the problem is if I go Banshees and it becomes 2-base Muta, I got useless Banshees, right? So I'm going to go Hellion, Marine, and then if I need to, I'll build a bunker. If you notice, I've been keeping my Reaper on their side of the map the whole time. That is super important because basically what this allows me to do is that if it ends up being roaches, I can see something leave the base, right? Or a link flood, let's say, I see something leave the base. So you don't want it too close here, but you don't want it too far away either. Another thing to keep in mind is that link speed is going to finish at around 320, 330. So if you wanted to send the Reaper back home as that link speed finishes, you could also do that. But I'm going to keep my Reaper outside here because I want to spot that. So I'm going to wait it out. It's a bit longer. There's a creep tumor. Then I check over here. Okay, no 3rd still. All right. Now at this point here, if it was early roaches, they would have already been going across the map. So, you know, is it possible it's just late? Sure. Definitely possible. But right now it seems like no roaches have come across the map. So we're going to go with the most likely scenario, which is that my opponent hasn't sent out the roaches or hasn't built a roach warren. Okay. So this is one of those things where you can't really prepare for every single scenario perfectly. You kind of want to meet in the middle, right? Like if I have 4 Marines and a medevac, it's probably not that bad against roaches, right? I pull some SCVs, I got like Hellions, whatever, right? But then it's also okay if it's 2-base Muta, or if I spot the roaches early on, I could just build a tech level on the starport, start up a Banshee. Like I have options here for how to transition, so long as I actually see what's happening. So What I'm going to do here now is it's right here when I see this Baneling Nest. That Baneling Nest doesn't really make sense if they're playing roaches, right? So at this point here, I've confirmed mentally that my opponent is playing 2-base Muta, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare for that. Now, usually what I like to do against 2-base Muta, and this is just a suggestion if you want to try it out. Once you confirm it's 2-base Muta, if you do this kind of reaction to this 2-base Zerg opener, what you could do is you could build an armory and do a Hellbat push if you want to. The downside being that it can be a little bit crazy, I know, because they're Hellbats, but what the idea behind it is that Zerg players don't want to build Banelings because they want to save money for Mutas. So if you do this Hellbat push, especially if they don't have a Baneling Nest, they're just dead. But if they have a Baneling Nest, then they have to build Banelings instead of Mutas, and then that costs gas, and when you're already kind of tight on gas because you're doing a 2-base Muta opener. So here I'm poking. I see 2 queens there, no problem. I run the Reaper into the main, confirm the layer. I send the Hellions into the natural now, and I'm going to dive. I see 4 gases. I see 1, 2, 3, probably 4, and then the layer. So notice I don't send it too early. If I had sent it too early, I might have missed the layer here. So I usually wait for the first 2 Hellions to come across the map, and then I'll eat the Reaper into the main, and then I'll send the Hellions to the natural. This is actually also important because if it were to be a Roach War, maybe even a Nidus, and maybe the Baneling Nest was trying to trick me or something like that, I've just scouted nearly the entire base, right? I know there's no layer yet, so it can't be a Nidus Worm, at least not yet. And again, just looking at everything here, the extra gases, the Baneling Nest, this still seems like 2-base Muta. Sorry, excuse me, Jesus. So now, as you see, I'm transitioning normally. So Tech Lab, 3rd Command Center, I built 6 Hellions in total. And I'm going to be aggressive, but I'm not going to be super committed. So the idea here is that I use the Marine pressure in the medevac to just make him build some Zerglings, to put on some pressure. On 2 bases like this, when people are going for Mutas, they skimp out on a lot of units. It's very tight on money, and they want to have as much money as possible. So as you can see, he doesn't have that many Lings, right? We have 4 Lings exactly, and 3, 4 Queens, okay? So with this Marine pressure, you know, he's going to have to actually send the Queens there because 4 Lings isn't enough. And I have but then I also have the 4 Hellions that can run to the natural. So these 2-base Muta builds, the more units that they build early on, the more delayed the transition to the Mutas is. So if you're kind of worried like, oh, well, what if I'm aggressive, but then they still build the Mutas anyway? Or like, oh, what if I'm aggressive, but they built like 20 Lings on 2 bases? That's not good for them. So as soon as you recognize that, as soon as you see that they have a lot of units on 2 bases, just pull back. You know, if you need to scout with a scan, go ahead. But don't commit because chances are that they've been overcompensating units early on to defend your push so that they can still go 2-base Muta. But that actually has an effect on how efficient, how many Mutas they can build on 2 bases. So that's why I like this opener, basically. I like doing the medevac thing. You'll see in the replays I have, I think, 2 in total where I build the medevac, I load up with Marines or Hellbats. And I'm like aggressive early on, just early enough to make them build extra units, but it also lets me scout. Like I can pull out with a medevac, Hellions can run away. So if for whatever reason it turns out to not be a Hellbat, a Muta opener, then I'm okay. And you're gonna see that in one of the replays that I have in the folder. You'll see like I did the exact same thing, but it turns out to be a Roach Warren. But then I'm prepared either way. So that's why I'm saying like, although this looks kind of funky, it's actually a really, really good response to the 2-base aggro from Zerg. So behind this, Stim, extra barracks for the Marines. I'm going to go double engineering bay, all that good jazz. So I'm still transitioning behind this. I built a bunker in the wall because I don't know what's happening, right? He's on 2 bases, so just better be safe than sorry. And I send that medevac in here. Medevac spots me. Here I'm being aggressive, and then as I see him send the units up here, I run the Hellions to the natural. And if you want to like do this the most efficient way possible, as soon as you see the units coming to the main, I would just pick up the Marines in the medevac and fly them away, and then just focus solely on the Hellions. So try to limit the multitasking a little bit. So as you can see here, I move the Marines away because the Marines aren't going to accomplish much here. They're just going to die. But the Hellions are what can get me a lot of value, and it's just a lot more expensive. So I want to use the Hellions to kill as many drones as possible. Here we see 10 Lings get started to handle the pressure. I'm killing all these Lings here, and Lings are still fine. You might think, well, he's not building anything that's worth gas, but that's okay because if he's building Lings, look how many minerals he doesn't have anymore, right? He's got more gas than minerals. There you go. It could also have been drones as well. Now he has to rebuild drones. Rebuilding drones as well. I'm not able to save all that money for Muta, so I end up killing 11 drones here. And behind this, now I've got 2 engineering based on my 1-1. At this point here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a couple of missile turrets. I'm going to build a missile turret in my production, a missile turret in my main, a missile turret in my natural. And I'm going to be, prepared for this. So there goes a turret in the natural, turret in the main. Here come the mutas, of course. And now extra rack. So I'm still transitioning. I'm still playing normal. I see Baneling speed getting started here. And I'm now going to take my third. Okay, so here this is important. The reason why you want that turret in your production is because these mutas are about to be insanely annoying. And fighting mutas with marines that don't have combat shields is very, very, very tough. Very tough. You don't want to fight the mutas with marines without combat shields for as long as possible. You want to wait because they just kind of die. It's just because the marines have lower health, right? So the mutas can actually kill them like that. You see that? So you want to be careful there. So I'll push them away. I'll do all that good stuff, but I don't want to actually commit too hard here. I want to be safe as possible. So yep, there you go. This is the mutas there. And I'm going to go Widow Mines behind this, Armory. Okay, so here I do this push. Now this is very, very, very important. For this, I want to kind of explain more so why I'm doing this push, but also why you shouldn't. So people who open 2-base Muta like this, it's very, very, there's 2 scenarios. They either pump out a lot of mutas, and they try to keep you in your base with just the mutas, which in that case, it would be acceptable to go push across the map, because chances are that they only have the mutas as army. The alternative is that they build a couple of mutas, and then they build a bunch of Baneling, which is what's happening right here. So I got more Lings coming out, more mutas. He's already got a couple Banelings. He stopped droning at 50. Okay. This can be done sometimes when they've either taken a lot of early game damage, or they were planning on kind of like swarming in on your third base, which happens very, very, very often. So this push is a little risky. How can you confirm what's happening? The best thing you could do is to just scan the third. If you scan the third and you see that there's no drones, there's 5 drones, 6 drones, 8 drones, but it's not fully saturated, do not attack across the map. Just hunker down at home, set some vision, put some sensor towers, some Widow Mines, play the long con, just defend the mid as long as you can. As you can see, my opponent doesn't have any upgrades on the way. If I had an armory on time here, and I start 2-2 right away, I'm going to be a whole upgrade set ahead of my opponent, possibly even more. So I will have an upgraded advantage and an eco advantage to lean back on, so long as I defend the push that's happening. So here I'm going to go across the map, make sure I don't rally anymore. A little bit supply blocks, which is hurting me. I have a lot more marines here. I scan, and then I have like, oh shit, I need to pull away, because I realize that it's possible that I could overcommit here. So I scan the third to confirm, which is what I should have done earlier. And bam, what do I see? No drones. So I'm like, shit, I gotta get out of here. So I'm running. Get a couple of my marines trapped there, and now we have 2 issues. Number 1, I was supply blocked for a good amount of time. Number 2, I just lost a good amount of my marines. So because I made those 2 mistakes, I've now made this a little dicey. Would it have still been okay if I was only supply blocked and didn't do the move out? Yes, but because I happened to have supply blocked myself and moved out, that is absolutely terrible. And my opponent was not building drones, so he's got a bunch of army here. He's got 14 more army supply than me. And even though I have an upgrade advantage, it doesn't really help me if I have no marines, if there's more banelings than marines, right? So I'm going to run away to my... Notice I didn't salvage the bunker. I still got mines spread out here. So I'm running away to the bunker. Make sure you're still producing marines while this is happening. I could also be producing medevacs here if I was better. But I'm bad, so I don't do that. And here I got to run. Now that's a nice connection, right? Widow Mines are highly volatile. And here I hold on. So the Baneling connections were nice. Kill this Overseer. And now I'm in an okay spot again. So what do you do here? Well, the first thing you want to do here, after being attacked like this, is don't take their word for granted. Don't think that because they pulled back that means that they're gonna drone behind this and transition. Wrong. This guy is ulaning me harder while taking a 4th. So this doesn't exactly make a whole lot of sense. And that's because he's just trying to kill you. So what you do here is the same. You want to scan the 3rd again and see if they're transitioning. If I scan the 3rd and I see no drones still, the same drone count, I'm not attacking across the map. I'm going to be prepared to be attacked again. So that's what you want to do here. I got off of mutas. Mutas are being annoying, and they always will be. And he hasn't added any more mutas. really into that flock. So in my mind, there's more money going into banelings. Now here what I'm going to do is this is where you meet in the middle. Let's say that you don't want to play super passive, which is fine. A lot of people are not comfortable with that. And you want to get something done across the map. If you're really worried about being attacked, but you still want to have some kind of map presence, what I like to do is if I know that the mutas are on this side of the map, I'll rotate my bio drop to the opposite side of the map, down this way. And because the mutas are here, as soon as the drop gets down here, the mutas have to come from the longest distance away from that main, all the way back down here, and then you already know off the bat that that's what they're gonna do, because otherwise you could just pick up the medevac and fly away to a different base. So they have to bring the mutas back to kill it. They'll bring the mutas back to kill it this way, and then with my other army here, knowing that the mutas have now gone to the opposite side of the map, I'm gonna send my marines to this side of the map. So I'm basically outmaneuvering the mutas at the expense of a small marine drop. So you still have to make it kind of worth it. All right, it's 8 marines and a medevac. But that's the play here. Now, of course, like I said, if I were better and not dumb, what I would do here is scan the third and see, okay, are there any drones or not? No drones? Maybe I don't even need to do this drop, right? But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to send it across here. And what he's going to try to do is use the mutas to bait you forward into the Ling Bane. Here, he does something very smart, which is he tries to detonate any Widow Mines with the Zerglings, but I've been lifting the Widow Mines. And then here I see, oh shit, that's a lot of stuff. I F2 here, everything, because I just need to defend to win this game. So I'm going to try to target fire that Widow Mine. I got a Thor now. And this is actually also a bit my fault, right? You know, yeah, I had a lot of early game trades and I was in a good spot, but because I wasn't actually scouting or looking for whether or not my opponent was going to all-in me, I put myself in a risky scenario where if I just decided, oh, I'm just going to move out and not scout, he would have just A-moved me because he's not building workers, right? He's not building any workers at all. I'm 20 workers ahead of my opponent. This guy's literally amassing Ling Bane on 2 bases. But if you got a lot of Banelings, sometimes you can just win that way. So, upgrades helped a lot here. The Thor, obviously very helpful. I end up saving the thing by putting in this corner here with repair. And my Marines do a lot of damage, so I end up holding. And obviously this is very all in, so the game's over. But a lot of risky stuff there that could have been handled much, much better. So that was a lot of information. So hopefully you guys find that helpful. I post, like I said, I have the pack, the little small replay pack below with the extra reps. And I also post it in our Discord channel. And if you guys find this helpful, let me know. But I don't know how common 2-base Muta is, but at least this is applicable to any 2-base aggression from Zerg, whether it's roaches or mutas. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys in the next video.